Get this. A company that's only 7 years old is completely rewriting the rules for the century-old business of war. And they're not just building new weapons, they're building a whole new way to fight.
So this is what really sent shockwaves to the Pentagon. A brand new sensor, never seen before, was plugged into Anduril's system. And within hours, it was shooting down live targets. I mean, we're talking hours, not months, hours. In the world of defense contracting, that kind of speed is, well, it's basically unheard of.
So you gotta ask, right? How is this startup, Anduril, making giants like Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, and Boeing? How are they making them genuinely nervous about their future?
Okay, so to get what's going on here, we have to look at what makes Anduril so different. And it all really boils down to one thing, a new kind of speed. And I'm not just talking about manufacturing faster, I mean the speed of making decisions on the battlefield.
You see, what's really scaring the old guard isn't that Anduril is building another drone. Lots of companies do that. It's that Anduril is taking the entire slow, human-driven process and replacing it with something else, a software-driven, autonomous kill web. Think of it as a network of sensors and weapons all talking to each other, operating way faster than any human possibly could.
Now, to really appreciate how revolutionary this is, you first have to understand the world that it's replacing, the old way of doing things that has run the defense world for decades. For generations, this has been the process. A radar picks up a threat, then a person has to look at it and say, yep, that's a threat. Then another person has to decide which weapon to use, and then another person has to authorize firing it. Every single step adds precious seconds, sometimes even minutes. And in a modern fight, those seconds decide who lives and who dies. And of course, the business model is built around this whole process. It's all about selling incredibly expensive, really complicated hardware. Think about something like an F-35. $85 million a pop. These things take years, sometimes decades, to develop and cost billions of dollars, all just to make one single jet a little bit better than the last one. This is where Anduril comes in. They're not just trying to build a better mousetrap. No, they're throwing the whole thing out and starting over with a revolution built entirely on software. And this is the secret sauce. It's called Lattice. It's an AI software platform that's basically the brain of the whole operation. It pulls in data from everything, drones, sensors, satellites, you name it, and fuses it all together into one single real-time map of the battlefield that an AI can actually understand. So remember that slow four-step human-in-charge process we just talked about? Well, Lattice just collapses it. It automates the whole thing, detecting, confirming, deciding, and turns a process that took minutes into one that takes just a few seconds. Suddenly, you're not limited by how fast a human can react. And this right here is a huge shift in thinking. We're moving away from having a human in the loop, where a person has to make every single little decision. Instead, we're moving to human on the loop. That means the human sets the big picture strategy, they define the rules, and then they just supervise as the AI goes and executes the plan at machine speed. This is maybe the best way to think about their whole strategy. Think about Microsoft in the 80s and 90s. They didn't build most of the computers, right? But they built Windows, the operating system that ran on all of them. That's Anduril. They're not trying to sell you a better fighter jet. They're selling you the AI platform that will coordinate all the fighter jets, all the drones, and all the submarines on the entire battlefield. So once you realize their goal is to be the operating system for war, you start to see why this isn't just about competition. For the old guard, it's an existential threat. Just look at how they stack up side by side. The legacy companies sell hardware. Anduril sells a software platform. The legacy guys focus on making one single plane better. Anduril focuses on the network that connects everything. And the development cycle? Anduril works in software sprints measured in months. The old guard? They measure things in decades. It's like they're playing two totally different sports. Yeah, this quote just nails it. The future of war isn't about who has the biggest ship or the fastest jet anymore. It's about who can update their software the fastest, who can adapt to new threats and push out new capabilities in days, not years. The winner is whoever has the best software velocity. Look, this isn't some far-off futuristic idea. It's happening right now. And some of the most powerful militaries in the world are jumping on board, and they're doing it fast.
This timeline really shows you how fast things are moving. You've got autonomous submarines for Australia, loitering munitions delivered to Taiwan just 6 months after they signed the contract. 6 months. That's insane. And maybe the biggest tell of all, Anduril actually took over a huge augmented reality program for the US Army from Microsoft, a tech giant. And it gets even deeper than that. US Special Operations Command is using their autonomy software. Northern Command is using their counter-drone systems. And here's the kicker. The Pentagon's main AI targeting program, Project Maven, is integrating with Lattice. So this isn't some side experiment. Anduril's software is being wired directly into the brain of the US military. All right, so let's zoom out. What does this all really mean? It means the fundamental rules of the game have changed. And that brings us to the ultimate strategic choice. Because this is really what it boils down to. It's a choice. You can either fight at human speed, reacting to things with a slow, top-down command structure, or you can fight at machine speed, where an AI runs through the entire decision loop in seconds, letting a whole network of systems act on their own. And when it comes down to it, machine speed is always, always going to win. Which brings us to the final and honestly kind of chilling takeaway here. For these huge legacy defense companies, the fight isn't really about competing with Anduril for the next contract. Their real competitor is obsolescence. It's the threat of becoming completely irrelevant, of being the company that builds the world's most amazing, expensive hardware for a type of war that nobody fights anymore.
And as Anduril keeps racking up wins, keeps integrating its systems, and keeps proving that its model works, you can't help but come to one conclusion. Right now, obsolescence is winning. And the only question left is who's going to adapt before it's too late?